He planned it perfectly. He chose the right moment. He chose the right story. He cried at the right time, in front of the right people. What he did not plan for was his own son. What's going on, crime crew? Welcome back to Uncanny Crime Stories. I'm James. And listen, if you are new here, I need you to understand something about this channel. We don't do surface level. We don't do rumors. We go all the way in. Because the story you are about to hear today, it doesn't just ask what happened. It asks, how long can a man lie when his own child has already told the truth? Grab a seat. Lock the door if you have to. This one is going to stay with you. From the outside, the Calloway family looked like something out of a catalog. Daniel Calloway, 42 years old, high school football coach, coached the same team for 11 years. The kind of man who remembered every player's birthday and showed up to their college graduations. His wife, Sandra, 39, elementary school art teacher, known for staying late after class to help struggling kids. Her students called her Miss Sandy. She had a tattoo of a sunflower on her wrist that her students always asked about. And their son, Marcus, 14 years old, quiet, observant, the kind of kid who notices things adults forget to hide. For the first 10 years of the marriage, by all accounts, it was real. Neighbors said they held hands at the block party. Sandra's sister said Daniel used to leave notes in her lunchbox. But somewhere around year 11, something shifted. Sandra started wearing long sleeves in July. She stopped coming to Daniel's games. And Marcus started sleeping with his bedroom door locked. Here's what we know happened inside that house that nobody outside was supposed to see. And here's where it gets complicated, because most of what we know, we only know because of a 14-year-old boy and a phone he kept hidden under his mattress. Marcus didn't start recording because he read something online. He didn't have a plan. He started recording because one night, he heard something he couldn't unhear. And he knew, the way kids somehow always know, that no one would believe him without proof. The first recording is from a Tuesday evening. You can hear Sandra asking Daniel where he'd been. You can hear Daniel's voice, smooth, almost bored, telling her she was imagining things. Then a crash, glass breaking, then silence. Then Daniel, in the same calm voice, saying, "Look what you made me do." Marcus was in the hallway when it happened. He didn't go in. Instead, he went back to his room, slid the phone under the gap in his door, and pressed record. Over the next 4 months, Marcus built a case file that no detective had. 17 recordings, 3 videos, and 1 photograph that would eventually become the centerpiece of an entire criminal trial. Now, I want to stop here for a second, because I need you to really sit with this. A 14-year-old boy was doing what adults around him completely failed to do. Teachers, neighbors, family, nobody pulled that thread. Marcus was the only one paying attention. On the night of March 14th, a Thursday, Sandra Calloway called her sister twice. The first call, she said she was fine. The second call never connected. By Friday morning, Daniel Calloway had called 911. He told the dispatcher his wife had slipped in the bathroom. He was crying. He sounded broken. He used the word accident 4 times in the first 2 minutes of that call. Paramedics arrived. Police arrived. Daniel stood on the porch with his arms crossed, tearful, shaking. The picture of a grieving husband. And then, quietly, without telling anyone, Marcus walked up to the lead detective. He held out his phone. He said 4 words. "I recorded it all." What was on Marcus's phone shattered Daniel Calloway's carefully constructed story into pieces so small, his own attorney couldn't put them back together. The videos showed a pattern of escalating violence spanning months. The recordings captured Daniel threatening Sandra, specifically, telling her that if she ever tried to leave, no one would find a reason to look twice. And the photograph? Marcus had photographed Sandra's arm 3 weeks before her death. The bruising, the handprint, with a timestamp. The medical examiner's report, when cross-referenced with the recordings, confirmed that Sandra Calloway's death was not an accident. The angle of the injuries, the sequence of events captured on audio, it all told a story that Daniel had spent years rehearsing, and Marcus had spent 4 months quietly dismantling. Daniel Calloway did what people like him always do. He controlled the room. He controlled the narrative. He had an answer for everything, because he'd practiced the answers. What he never practiced for was someone in his own home who didn't trust the story. Someone who loved his mother more than he feared his father. Daniel Calloway was arrested 48 hours after Sandra's death. He pled not guilty. His attorney argued the recordings were taken out of context, that what sounded like threats was just a difficult marriage. The jury heard 17 recordings, watched 3 videos, saw 1 photograph with a timestamp. They deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty. First-degree murder. Life in prison, no possibility of parole. Marcus Calloway sat in the front row of the courtroom when the verdict was read. 14 years old. Hands in his lap. He didn't celebrate. He didn't cry. He just nodded. Like he'd been waiting for someone to finally catch up to what he'd known for months. Here's what I keep coming back to, crime crew. Adults failed Sandra Calloway. The system that should have caught this, missed it. A child did not. So I want to ask you something in the comments, and I want a real answer. At what point did someone in Sandra's life have enough information to act, and why didn't they? Drop it below. I read every single one. If this episode hit different, share it. Not for the numbers. Because someone out there might be living in a house with a locked door and no one paying attention. And maybe hearing this story gives them the courage to be their own Marcus. Next episode on Uncanny Crime Stories? A woman disappears on a cruise ship. Her husband is the last person to see her. And the crew? They looked the other way on purpose. I'll see you there, crime crew.